Wonder who could read that? Ilyas. In the past. Time. So we're going to be going back in time, in our time machine. We're going to be thinking about things that happened in the past. At this age, children find chronology difficult, and not in terms of what happened in the recent past, but going back more than 50, 100, more than 300 years. Past time, so, any ideas?
Children's lack of understanding of chronology at Key Stage 2 has been identified as a weakness by the QCA and has been cited by teachers as a difficult area. In this programme, we show you how Kate Gooding from Christchurch School in East London uses the techniques of active timeline and role-play to begin to ground pupils' understanding of the past. Today's activities have been developed in partnership with Gail Richards, the history specialist from a local theatre and education company.
Today, we are all going to act as private investigators.
Now, is that the right order of time phrases? So yesterday, last year? Have a think. Well, what do you think?
Firstly, in a preparatory lesson, Kate introduces the notion of chronology by using a physical timeline.
Well, this is my timeline. Going back in time. Back. This is the beginning. This is now. What time phrase is going to come first? This is where you're going to go. Here we are, turn around. Big loud voice.
Yesterday, Rachel told us we learned about the time.
Excellent, well done.
At the beginning of the session, we started off by making a physical timeline because I wanted children to be able to visualise how time was ordered. It just helps them to remember it if they've actually been in that position and in that place.
Ilyas is going to move you round. X, that's better. Good, now we're sorted.
What can you see? What can you see? I can see people. We can see children and the teacher. That's a photograph.
The second part of the session, I asked the children in groups to look at photographs and drawings from different time periods. And it was really to get them to start to look for clues. How can we use sources to find out what life was like?
What's it a photograph of?
Children. That's in the old time ago. That's in the olden times.
But how do you know that, Zara? What clues did you find?
Because my black and white.
It's black and white.
Them tables are not the same as ours.
It's made of metal. Metal.
It's made of metal. It's glass.
Huh? Okay, so now you can take the lid. It is very heavy. What do you think it's made out of?
Metal.
You think it's metal? A water bottle, you think? Would you put water in there?
Yeah.
It's for dirty water. Okay.
What I was trying to get out of the sessions today were that children started to really think about how they could use sources, how they could use artefacts and pictures and to look for clues and find information about the past.
Oh my goodness, that looks kind of scary. What is that?
To cut plants.
To cut plants. Do you think that would cut something? Feel it? No. Wasn't for that. Anyone else got any ideas? Mahisha?
In the fire, if something fell, they pick it up with that.
That's not what this is for, but you would put these in the fire to heat them up. Go on then, Zara.
You stick in your hair.
You absolute... Well, actually, you'd curl it. So here's my nice hot... They're curling tongs. I want some nice curly hair because I'm going out. What's it made out of?
Metal.
It is made out of metal. What do you think this was for? It's something not very nice.
I know what it is, Miss. It's for your toilet.
Absolutely, it's to go to the toilet in.
After break is session 2, where pupils visit a local historic site for a session led by Gail and her team.
Does anybody know, outside the church, what does the top of the church look like on the outside of the church? Can anyone show me with an action? It's really tall. It's the steeple. It's called the steeple, and it's really tall. Can you all show me with your bodies? It's as tall as you can be. Fantastic. That concept of time is very difficult for children to understand. So actually being in a site where things actually happen and history actually happened is much easier for them to access it, and it's really bringing it alive. Today, we are all going to act as private investigators. What do you think an investigator is? Who can put their hand up and tell me? Yeah. Looks for clues. And does anybody know what we might be finding clues out about? What clues might we be finding? Yes.
How old this church is?
How old this church is? Do you think there's going to be lots of clues in this church? Oh, and there's a clue over there.
Is that Jesus?
I don't know. Who do we think it is? What does he look like?
King.
Does he look like a king? What tells us that he's a king? What clues are there?
He's got long hair.
He's got very long hair, doesn't he?
He looks like King Charles.
Does he look like King Charles? And what do we think this statue is made out of?
Stone.
Some stone, or clay, very good. Can we all see that writing? Does it tell you anything? Can you see any names in there?
Edward Peck.
Edward Peck. Do we think this is Edward? We think this is Edward. So we found out those clues, haven't we?
How strange.
Shh. We came upstairs.
Wow, look what we've got here. Whoa, look at these seats. Wow, is it cold? What are these?
Wooden.
They're wooden seats. So so is that how we know that they're very old?
Yeah.
Now these seats have got a special name. Do you know what they're called? They're called
long
pews. They're like long chairs. They're called pews.
And
That's where people used to sit in churches. Now, how does it feel? Hard and smooth. Good. I like that. Hard.
It's wicked.
Can make a music with it.
How old is it? How old do you think this pew is?
10.
10 years old? What do you think?
6.
Do you think it's older than me? Why? 40, so 50 years. What do you think?
80.
I thought the private investigator section went really well, actually, and I think by asking them to be a role, so by asking them to be private investigators, they're already excited about it. You've given them a very specific objective. What we wanted to do in that as well is starting when they're looking at artefacts, actually try and getting them to physicalise them also, so they're actually becoming what they're looking at. When I say 5, the object is going to be finished. 1, 2, 3. Oh, careful. That's it. 4, 5. Freeze. We now, because as investigators, we need to try and guess what's going on in this picture.
As is in the middle, looks like king.
What clue is there in the picture to tell him that you think he might be a king?
Standing like that.
He looks very important. He's standing like that. That's really good, actually. How can you tell that it's that statue?
The babies, because there's 2 babies around and there's a man in the middle.
Is the man in the middle, so somebody found out his name was Edward Peck. And then either side, there's some babies, isn't there, either side? Brilliant. And down here, are you what are you down here? You're the table? Fantastic. Can we give them a big round of applause? Very, very good. This is a really clever one. Oh, yes, what clues can you see?
She's the unicorn, he is the lion.
The unicorn and the lion? And where do you think they are? Where have you seen them before in the church?
There.
Up there? Can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you very well done, this group.
After lunch, the pupils returned to school to develop the role play on what life may have been like in the 18th century.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to spend a little bit of time in the hall, and we're still going to think about some of the things that we investigated when we were in the church. But this time we're going to try and think what life might have been like around the time when the church was built. Do you think anybody can put their hands up and have a guess and think how old it was by thinking about all the clues that we found, all the old things and new things? How old do we think the church was?
1,000.
1,000 years old?
2,000.
2,000, that's a really long time ago. One more guess here.
300 years ago.
Do you know something? Kieran is just about right. It was built in the year 1729. Can everyone say that for me?
1729.
Because we need to now have a think, well, what was life like 300 years ago?
300 years ago, there was only horses.
Did we have buses?
No.
Would we have had trains?
No.
What about aeroplanes?
No.
So, what kind of jobs did people do, can you think? Yeah?
Build houses.
Build houses. Very good, because somebody had to build the houses.
They made the clothes.
They made clothes. Fantastic. Do you know, around here, where we live now, there was lots of people who made clothes. Okay, so I want you to do you remember we were making pictures with our bodies of objects in the church? Yeah? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a picture, but I want to see a picture of those people doing their jobs. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So, can you make a picture for me of people looking after the horses and carts? Can you please make for me a picture of people making clothes? So tailors, okay?
Role play is an excellent vehicle. Every child has different learning styles, and some children learn by doing. And I think if you combine by listening, talking and doing something, you're much more likely to remember it and to take that forward.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, freeze. Who thinks they might be able to guess what job they're doing in this picture?
Statues.
Pardon?
Statues.
Well, they are being like statues because they're being really, really still. But can we see what job they might be doing?
They're cleaning.
They're cleaning? Oh, what makes you think that they're cleaning?
They're plates.
Looks like they're cleaning plates.
They're sewing.
They're sewing. What makes you think that they're sewing?
They're sewing t-shirts.
Do they look like they're sewing? Are you sewing? Yeah? Fantastic. What do we think the boys back here are doing? What are they doing? Are they waiting to get their suits made? Is that what you're doing? Is it? Fantastic. Can we give them a big clap? Really? I think for children to understand that things happened a long time ago, and for them to understand it, I think they have to be it. And if they be it, they will probably understand it. Now, this is so clever. Really freeze for me. Freeze. Who thinks they might know what is happening in this picture? Yes.
Are the poor people eating?
Now somebody's eating something, aren't they? Who do you think they're feeding?
The sheep.
Could be sheep, could be sheep. What else could it be? We've talked about it a little bit before. What else could it... Say it again for me.
The horse.
The horse, fantastic. So here, we've got the horse. Remember we were saying that people travelled by horse and carts? Over here, we're riding the horse. This is a very posh lady here, isn't it? She's riding the horse. And down here, we're cleaning their feet. Can we give them a big round of applause? Very good, this group. Come and sit down.
Before we finish today, we'll have a look at some of the photographs that we took today in the church. There you were, writing down the clues. Hisha looking all around. You were really good at looking.
In the plenary, we were pooling the information really, how we'd looked at clues, artefacts, gone back in time, and what information had we gathered from the different sources, from the church and from the artefacts.
Who remembers the name of these chairs? Pew. Well done, they're called pews. Okay, what we're going to start working on today, you're going to draw a picture from the day with some writing. Okay, what you found out, but also talking about the jobs that people did.
I think maybe another time we could revisit it. A lot of education and teaching is about revisiting things. There's no harm in doing that. So another time when we have a space in the church, we might go back to continue. It's an ongoing project. It's not going to stop at the end of today.